You wake up in a dark, cold dungeon. You don't remember how you got here, and you don't know what's going on. You rub your head because it hurts. Your ears are ringing. Hey, calm down and focus. Creepy puzzles are waiting for you, and at the end of the video, you'll see how good at them you are. You see several strange symbols scratched on a brick wall. It's 4 vertical stripes, 3 stripes below, and a check mark even lower. Next, you come to a grid. A huge rusty lock is hanging on it. There's no key. Look around and try to figure out how you can get out. Have you noticed that brick that sticks out of the wall? Try pushing it. Ha! It worked! A secret door opens and you make your way outside. You go down the stairs and see a large hall. Several torches light up and you spot 4 huge mirrors. They reflect Frankenstein, a skeleton, a zombie, and a vampire. One of these creatures is a human being. Can you guess who it is? Vampires don't get reflected in the mirror, so you're looking at a human. He gives you a small bone and warns that you will need it. You get outside and realize you're in the courtyard. This is the territory of a large, sinister castle. There are no clouds in the sky, and the sun is hidden behind one of the tall towers. You can see 3 gates ahead. A werewolf is next to the first one. A second gate is guarded by a huge scorpion the size of a car. And the third gate has a scary, alive gargoyle. Something is wrong here. Find out what exactly. The sun is shining brightly, so there's no full moon. So what's a werewolf doing here? It's just a human in a costume. The werewolf opens the gate and you go through. You're back in the castle and step into a small room. There are cobwebs everywhere and a lot of garbage on the floor. You can see a jar of salt on the table and a note on the wall. It says, "A circle of salt." You decide to take the jar just in case. At this point, a slippery, viscous liquid starts dripping onto your shoulder. You look up and see a big spider descending towards you on its web. You run away and see 3 doors. You can hear screaming behind the first one. Behind the second door, you hear the sound of a chainsaw. A dog is barking behind the third one. Quickly, you've got to decide where to go. Run to the third door. Yeah, you'll meet an angry dog, but you have a bone. You throw it, and the dog immediately feels better. It nibbles on its trophy and forgets all about you. On the floor, you can see human footprints that lead to the next door. You push the handle down. It's locked. Look around the room and find the key. The dog is gnawing on the bone and the key is glinting on its collar. You pet the dog and gently remove the key from its neck. You open the door. It's dark and you can't see anything. You take a small step forward and fall into a deep hole. Fortunately, you're not hurt. On the ground, you find an old MP3 player with headphones. It still has some battery left. Great, you put it in your pocket. You can't climb up the smooth walls of the pit, but you can see that someone has thrown down 2 ropes for you to get out. One rope is white and slightly shining. The other looks quite ordinary. Choose which you should use to get out. The white rope is a spider web. The spider is still chasing you, so you choose the normal rope. You get out of the pit. The rope is tied to a marble pillar. You untie it and put it in your pocket. You slowly walk down a dark corridor and hear a growl behind you. It's a werewolf. The full moon is out. You run out of the corridor and find yourself in the street. There are 3 paths ahead of you. The first road is covered with lava. The second one is swarming with snakes. And the third road leads to a poisonous lake. Hurry up, the werewolf is coming. There's a shoe lying right on the water on the left side of the lake. This means that the lake is frozen. You're sliding on the ice and falling. The werewolf is still chasing you, but it slips too, and you have time to run to the solid ground. There's a massive tower ahead. You run inside and close the door. You find yourself in a circular hall lit by torches. Human faces appear on the walls. Their hands begin to reach out. The phantoms are slowly approaching you. They're everywhere, surrounding you. What will you do? Remember that jar of salt and the note saying, "a circle of salt"? You should spill salt around you, and the phantoms won't dare cross that line. You do, and then wait for a while, and they disappear. You climb up a spiral staircase to the top of the tower. The door slams shut behind you. There's one window and an iron torch stand mounted on the wall. In the center of the room, you notice a wide bed, surrounded by a white veil. You push the veil aside with your hand and see that 2 zombies are sleeping there. They open their eyes, get up, and slowly walk towards you. What are you gonna do now? Use the rope you found before, tie it to the torch stand, and go down through the window. Great! The zombies are too stupid to pull the rope back. You're on the ground and see a car. At this moment, the werewolf breaks out of the castle. You get into the vehicle and lock the door. The werewolf hits the window with its paws. You can't find the key. It's probably in the glove compartment, but it has a 3-digit combination lock. Recall the beginning of your adventure and try to guess the code. Hurry up before the werewolf breaks the glass. In the dungeon where you woke up, there were several signs on the wall. 4 vertical stripes, 3 stripes below them, and a check mark even lower. The check mark is the Roman numeral 5. Then the code is 435. You take out the key, start the engine, and drive away. You leave the castle but realize the car's brakes don't work. There are 3 roads ahead. A brick wall is at the end of the first one. The second road leads to a burning forest. And the third road ends on a high hill with a cliff. What path will you choose? There's almost no time. You're driving too fast. Release the gas pedal and drive up the hill. The speed will soon drop. At one point, you'll be able to get out of the vehicle. You jump out of the car and it falls off the cliff. You go around the hill and get into a swamp. You make your way through the marsh and see 3 women in front of you. Which one is a mermaid? The woman in the middle has something strange on her neck. Those are gills. The second girl has webbed fingers. The girl on the left seems normal. She's a human. You pass through the swamps and find yourself on the seashore. An old motorboat is lying on the sand. You push it to the water, start the engine, and climb inside. You go far away from the island with the castle. In the distance, you see some rocks and shipwrecks. You slow down and hear beautiful singing. It's coming from several women staying on top of the rocks. They're sirens. Using their singing, they lure sailors whose ships crash against the rocks. You move straight toward them and can't resist it. The rocks are getting closer and closer. Do something, quickly! You still have your MP3 player you found in the pit. You put on the headphones, turn on the music, and go away. The engine stalls. Far ahead, you can see an outline of another island. You grab an oar and start rowing. A few hours pass, you're hungry and thirsty. There are fish swimming in the water, and you find a can of worms in the boat. But how can you catch them without a fishing rod? Use one of your shoelaces. Tie the bait to it and lower it into the water. It works! You catch a few fish, but then you notice a shark's fin. It circles you and pushes the boat. The island is really close, but you need to get away from the dangerous creature. How are you going to solve this problem? Throw the fish you've caught as far as possible. This will distract the shark and give you some time to get to the shore. Whew, done. But unfortunately, you've given your lunch away to the sea hunter. Exhausted, you get to the shore. Here, you meet a man. It says it was him who left you the MP3 player and the rope. He also wrote the code on the wall of the dungeon. Without a word, you kick him in the shins and he hobbles off. No, you don't, but I sure would. Anyway, you're glad that everything is over and just lie down on the sand. But the man tells you it's not the time to relax. Other tough tests are waiting for you. You hear bizarre sounds coming from the jungle. But that's another story, and this one is coming to an end. Time to find out your score. 0 to 4 points, don't get upset. You can do better, but it's a bad idea for you to go to magic castles. 5 to 8 points, not bad. You've proved that you're brave, but you were a little lacking in resourcefulness. You will solve other riddles better. 9 to 12 points, almost perfect. You've passed the test and proved that you can get out of any dangerous situation alive. 13 to 15 points. It's not you who should run away from the monsters. They should be wary of you. Any mystical castle can become your home.
How good is your visual memory? Can you recognize the brand by just looking at the design of its can? We're about to find out. What do you say? 7-Up, Sprite, or Mountain Dew? Mountain Dew. And what about this green can? That's 7-Up. Can you recognize this beverage? Pepsi, Nestea, or Red Bull? The correct answer is Nestea. Let's take a look at this bold orange can. Can you guess the brand which belongs here? Iron Brew, Fanta, or Lipton? Fanta. What about this blue can? Does it look familiar? Pepsi. Can you recognize the brand behind this red can? Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, or Tab? See this little white stripe? That's Coca-Cola's design. Here's the next can. Sprite, Schweppes, or Nestea? What do you say? This lemon looks so familiar, doesn't it? Sprite! Great job! Shelly wants to go to a party with her classmates. She asks her father's permission, but he says, "No way. You better spend this weekend in the country with your grandparents. They've just moved to a cute new house." Shelly only uses this as an excuse to leave the house. In reality, she goes to the party. When she comes back after the weekend, Shelly's father asks her, "What were you doing at your grandparents' house?" Shelly replies, "I've been mostly studying upstairs." Her father immediately knows that Shelly's lying, but he didn't even call his parents to ask about Shelly's visit. How did he understand? Shelly said she spent her days upstairs, but her parents live in a one-story house. Bob likes orange, but at the same time, he hates it. Can you explain this mystery? Bob likes orange fruit and hates the orange color, or vice versa. This Friday, Bob returns from a business trip and finds out that his wife, Elle, disappeared. She didn't leave any clues, and all her stuff and her phone are at home. Bob calls the police. They question 4 people that they found her in recent calls. Elle's brother says, "I called her in the morning. 2 days ago, her dentist removed her last wisdom tooth. She felt severe pain and didn't go to work." Bob says, "I've just returned from my business trip. I've been in another state for a week." Elle's coworker says, "She took a day off today, but I'm not sure why." And her dentist says, "Here's an ultrasound scan of Elle's teeth made on Thursday. We're supposed to treat cavities on her wisdom tooth today, but Elle didn't show up. So I called her to postpone our meeting." Who's lying? It's the brother. According to his story, Elle got rid of her wisdom teeth on Wednesday, but this contradicts the dentist's story. Take a closer look at the scan. It was really made on Thursday. Bella sends a selfie to her new boyfriend, and he replies with this weird message. Can you help Bella figure out what's going on? Bella's boyfriend is very modest. This rebus means, too good for me. And now, let's see if you can guess the beverage by emoji. Here's the first rebus. Any ideas? Red Bull. Great job. Let's go ahead and try to crack this code. Chocolate shake. What about this one? Strawberry milkshake. Next rebus, what do you say? Seven Up. Can you guess this beverage? It's easier than it looks. Fruit juice. If you manage to crack the next rebus, you're a genius. That's just Fanta. Let's see if you can crack this mystery. Orange juice, obviously. What about this rebus? Any ideas? Iced coffee. What about this one? The correct answer is Mountain Dew. Someone had put a sleeping curse on Glenda, the richest witch in town. It happened between 8 to 10 p.m. The police find 4 suspects among her closest friends. Jessica, her nephew, is a young witch. She doesn't have magic powers yet. Christina, Glenda's family fortune teller for 30 years. Luke, her cousin, who's in depression because his favorite dog Wanda ran away 2 weeks ago. And finally, Mr. Washington, a lawyer who helps Glenda run her business. The police officer asked them just one question. What were you doing yesterday between 8 to 10 p.m.? Here's what they tell the police. I was in the library learning new spells. I was buying some new tarot decks for my collection. I was walking my dog, Wanda. I was studying some documents in my office. Who is lying? It's Luke. His dog Wanda ran away 2 weeks ago. Kyle's parents are leaving for the weekend. He throws a little party in his family's house and invites 3 people: Tim, Sam, and Mia. The guests arrive and the party begins. At some point, Kyle notices that someone had stolen all the jewelry from his parents' bedroom. Kyle believes it must be one of the guests and questions everyone. Each guest makes 2 statements, 1 truth and 1 lie. Tim says, I wasn't in the house when it happened. I know Mia stole the jewelry. Sam says, Mia's the thief. I saw it. I already have enough jewelry. And finally, Mia says, I didn't steal the jewelry. Tim tells the truth. He wasn't in the house. Who stole the jewelry? If Tim is the thief, both of his statements would have been false. If Mia is the thief, then all of Tim's statements would have been true, which is against the conditions. Therefore, Sam is the thief. Can you recognize this beverage brand? Tropicana. What about this rebus? Can you decode these emojis? Dr. Pepper. Next rebus. Any ideas? That's Lipton. I bet you can crack our next one. Easier said than done, right? That's Nescafe. Let's go ahead and solve this mystery. Cappuccino. What about this rebus? That's Minute Maid. Any idea what this might be? Starbucks. Fiona goes to the supermarket and texts her sister asking what to buy. Instead of giving a clear answer, her sister sends this. Can you guess what she means? She asks Fiona to buy Oreo cookies. Kitty comes to her flower shop early in the morning and finds out that the most expensive lilies had been stolen. She calls the police. The detective arrives at the shop and questions Kitty. Kitty says, I closed the shop at 10 p.m. and went home. The lilies were in the shop when I was leaving. The detective finds 3 suspects and visits their houses. The guard says, I was on duty last night. Perhaps the thief snuck into the shop when I was on another floor. A barista from the neighboring coffee shop says, I closed my shop at 8 p.m. and went home right after that. And the cleaning lady says, I have a severe allergy to lilies. I can't even enter this shop. Who is lying? The cleaning lady. She has a lily among her home plants, so she can't be allergic to this flower. Someone used black magic to turn a billionaire named Frank into an ice cube. Frank's wife, Sophie, calls the police. They need to hurry up to cancel the spell before Frank melts. The detective decides to talk to Sophie first. He asks, What happened? Sophie replies, I don't know. He was on the phone all day. I was upstairs and I only heard some mumbling. The detective searches the crime scene and finds a note. There's a weird number combination on this note. The detective takes out his phone, calls his office, and says, I've solved the case. I know who cursed Frank. What about you? If you decode the numbers in Frank's note, you'll get wife. Therefore, Sophie herself is the Black Witch.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.